So get this. I can't get a medical marijuana certificate on the telly line because the doctor's like, no, you've been a previous user and it's quite dangerous. You need to be monitored, right? Your use. And I'm thinking, can't they monitor me like by giving me a phone call like once every 2 weeks and saying, how you going? Like, they can't monitor me by seeing me anyway. And then I'm thinking, so what about all the people that have been using forever who are unmonitored because they're buying on the black market for starters, right? Because it's illegal. So you've got all these people out there using unmonitored forever, never stopping. And then there's someone like me that stopped my whole life over and over and over again and just wants some so I don't have to go and see anybody to get it, right? It's what I hate, is having to go and deal with dealers, right? So, yeah, it's all a farce, basically. They put this thing out there to say that there's medical marijuana now. It's bullshit. You can only get it if you ring up and lie and say, I've never used before. Basically, that's it. So, anyway, there's supposed to be a doctor somewhere around here. And I've got a car now that hopefully won't break down. So I'm going to go get it. But I've been studying up on narcissistic abuse and narcissistic victims. And there's this guy called Professor Sam Vaknin. Awesome. He's actually a physicist, but he's a narcissist. He's been diagnosed twice, and he's actually a psychopathic narcissist, which is very interesting. So he's been diagnosed a long time ago and there was no information about it. So he has done his own research based on him being diagnosed and the things that have happened in his life and how it's affected him. So he's got a video that I watched. It's called Manipulate the Narcissist and Live to Tell About It. But then there's another one about how narcissists experience reacts to no contact, grey rock, mirroring, coping, survival techniques. So basically, he's the same as what everyone said. He's invented the first 7 and then someone did the 8th, these techniques. But basically what he says is no contact. So before I go into it, everyone's got narcissistic qualities. It's a healthy part of your independence. As you grow up, you learn boundaries and things like that. But there's different forms of narcissism. I have realised, and my ex was telling me this when he was pumping me full of the borderline personality disorder videos online, because, it was me, which was very helpful. But then, of course, they led to the narcissistic personality disorder videos by the same woman. Of course, he wouldn't watch those. He reckoned he watched them, but he refused to admit that he had anything wrong with him. He said, I admit that I might have a few issues, but I don't think I've got any disorders. Okay? There is nothing wrong with me. So that's the brick wall. So, yeah. But I found out some really interesting stuff from this guy. So, I think everyone's on a spectrum, right? So I just think that my borderline personality disorder and my post-traumatic stress disorder was high on the spectrum, and my narcissistic personality disorder was low on the spectrum. But this is something else my ex also pointed out to me that is a narcissistic trait, is to just cut people off. So I always saw it as a self-defense mechanism, right? That if somebody fucked me over and I knew it, that this person had done me wrong, judged by my morals, right? My high moral fucking bar. If they'd done something wrong, I'd cut them off. I'd just end the friendship and I just wouldn't hang out with them again or whatever. But it was easy. I could just go, no, that person is a threat to my safety, as in whatever. And I know that I can't trust them. It's a trust thing, basically. I can't trust that person either with my feelings or whatever, how they treat me, whatever. But I would just go, boom, done. And he's like, that's a narcissistic quality. And I said, well, it's self-preservation when you've been abused. But It is a narcissistic quality, but I'm kind of reflecting on it now because, you know, I was single for 12 years and celibate for 8. And I didn't really, for the last few years of that, I kind of really went sort of internal, as in I started my own business and stopped, made a concerted effort to not go out to any pubs or anything anymore. I just wasn't interested in it. I'd stopped drinking for extended periods of time, like months and months, nearly a year, I think. I don't know, anyway. And same with the weed and quitting everything. But I kind of slowed my life down. And I didn't have that many friends. And then I was hanging out with a chick that was, oh, you know, a little bit slow, the people considered her, but I didn't. She just had a lot of issues too. And I used to take her everywhere with me, but it was for company, right? I used to say, oh, she's not going anywhere either. Like, you know, might as well take her, because I was lonely, because I wasn't hanging out with anyone really. I was trying to be on my own. But that in itself, I think, is a bit narcissistic in that you use people for company. And I knew I used to do that when I was young. I didn't associate it to narcissism. I was just addictive personality, and people were another way for me to escape my own company. When you've got issues in your head and you don't like your thought processes, or you can't make sense of them, it's easy to numb it with alcohol, drugs, and people, or places, things, TV, anything to take your mind away from your mind, right? Your attention away from your mind. So I knew when I was young that I used to not use people, but I used to say it, I would always be out doing something, and I'd say I think I used people as a drug to escape my own self, my loneliness, whatever. That's a totally narcissistic quality too. So I'm not judging anyone in that everybody's got different disorders. I don't like the labels. A lot of them have only been coined in the last 30, 40, 50 years with the advent of psychology. This guy says that psychology is actually just a form of literature. And a lot of psychologists want it to be recognized as a science, but he said it can't be based on science because the variables are just too much in every human, and it's unpredictable. You can't repeat an experiment with a human exactly the same. You can never ever recreate the same thing. It's not scientific. So he says a lot of the writings in that are just based on literature, as in it's somebody's opinion and theory based on studies. And he said, unfortunately, our society has been very influenced by Freud, who he said was, a great writer, but not necessarily right. So it's kind of, it's been good to watch these videos. It's given me validation for what happened, because there is a process, and now I realize, you can't deny it. It was the same when he showed me the BPD checklist, right? I ticked all the boxes, and it was very shocking because I hadn't actually been diagnosed with it. Mind you, it did say in my court psychology report that I had borderline tendencies, but at the time, like 15 years ago, whatever, I didn't know what that meant. And I'd read it, and I just, I'm not even supposed to have a copy of that thing. But, so I was borderline. Always have been, and my cousin's been diagnosed, and she's the one who explained it to me, which is really like you get deregulated emotions, and usually what happens is that no matter what emotion you're feeling, if it's overwhelming, you cry. And I used to do this when I was younger too. I'd be angry, and then I'd start crying, and then I'd get angry at myself, because I'd be like, you're crying, but you're angry, but by crying, you're making yourself look weak. And I'd be like, I can't stop crying, but I don't want to cry, I'm angry. But this person's going to think I'm weak because I'm crying, and I couldn't control it. And they say it's the same. And no matter what emotion, if it's overwhelming, you'll cry. It's the same when people get happy and go, oh my God. That's borderline, right? You're crying when you're happy. Not the same thing. Not supposed to happen. You're supposed to be happy. You're not supposed to cry. And it's the same when we laugh, when we're scared. Same thing, right? It's all borderline, as in, our emotions get slightly dissociated when we're young. And I've always said this to people, you know, what I've been through is pretty fucking shocking, right? I kind of got the fucking full buffet of abuse, I think. But it's all relative. Someone who's rich might not have got the pony they wanted for their birthday that they were promised, right? But if that happened at a formative age, and if the parent kind of built this kid up to get that thing, and then they didn't get it, and if it's at a formative age, that will affect them. It just can be as simple as being a little neglected because your parents are popping out kids, right? And you just don't get the attention, or you get the attention and then bang, it's gone. And unfortunately, I guess with the baby boom, that's how it would have been. You know, people just popping out kid after kid after kid. There's no room for attention, and each one of those children would have suffered some kind of parental trauma from neglect, or it's like loss. They say a baby, when the mother leaves the room, he says, you know, it experiences like anxiety because the mother's not there. And then when the mother comes back, it's okay. But all the baby knows is that the mother is gone and doesn't exist anymore, right? So it cries. And then the mother picks it up and it's like, oh, mother exists again. If you get that too much and the mother just kind of disappears for whatever reason, or the dad or whatever, you create a false self because you have to create a false parent. Like, you have to create a false representation of the person that's leaving you, abandoning you, neglecting you, abusing you. So you create a false mother or father or whoever. And then at the same time, you create a false self because you can't cope with what's happening. So you create a different self when you're a kid, a baby, a child, a false self that is kind of grandiose, strong, powerful, nothing affects it. And that's the thing that you turn to all the time. And then, so your false self actually becomes your entire personality. With narcissists, if it happens at a very, well, whatever age, but they will start to take on other people's traits because they don't have their own sense of self. And I'm assuming this is the same with the BPD, borderline personality, when your emotions are all dissociated. And of course, you don't know who you are because they are all operating separately. So I'm assuming it kind of manifests the same, as in, that these same circumstances can manifest in these variety of disorders. I think I'm probably on the spectrum of everything. I'm definitely, my auntie told me I was psychotic when I went through Brisbane. She said, you're a liar and you're psychotic. I'm not a liar and I am psychotic. So at the time I was like, I'm not a liar and I'm not psychotic. But now I'm like, yep, I'm psychotic. I think I'm slightly psychopath, but it's not a clinical term. Apparently this guy said it's something that's been coined, same thing in literature, and then jumped on by the media. And there's been psychologists trying to get it recognised as like a clinical disorder for about 30 years, and it keeps getting rejected because they fall under all these other categories anyway. But he did talk about psychopaths a fair bit because it has been kind of brought into the psychological realm. But he said in universities they generally don't use the term, but it is becoming more common. So anyway, I've kind of realised that, I watched the video of me when I was, it was the beginning of the end in September 22 when I moved in, and I watched myself on this high, right? This love high. The love bomb stage, which was for both of us. It was mutual, but the love bomb that I got from him was more emotional, and the love bomb I gave him was more, gifts, which is one of my love languages, receiving and giving gifts. But it was equal. Like, what I was getting from him was a love bomb. It was an emotional love bomb, and it was building up the image of what I wanted. which is what we all do. And I knew this, you meet someone, they are what you think they are, what you want them to be, because they appear to be that way. But reality bites, and everyone's human. And after however long that you've been seeing each other, sometimes you just kind of go, oh, actually, they're not what I thought they were. It's just human nature. We try and impress people at the beginning. And then, the facade fades because we're all human. So, I mean, this is a normal thing that happens. But when it comes to like a narcissistic takedown, it's very well planned, and it's not just a natural thing where two people are going, hey, let's see how we go. And then it maybe peters out. And that's a normal way to end, I guess, a romantic encounter or a relationship. Two healthy people would probably be able to just say, this isn't working, have a coffee, sit down, talk about it, go their separate ways. It might take them a little while to get over it, as in it will hurt or whatever, but it's something that they deal with in a kind of fairly quick fashion, and then they can move on healthily. But in relation to the narcissistic relationship, it's completely different. And basically what this guy has said is that when the narcissist sees you, they have a vision of what you are based on what they see at the very beginning, right? And what they've heard about you, because they do their research, the data mining. They choose the people carefully. But sometimes it can just be enough that the person's in the right place at the right time. And if they're doing a certain thing or they appear a certain way, the narcissist will take a snapshot. And that snapshot remains the same throughout the whole relationship. So it's basically they hit a point where they decide that you are going to be a good supply for what they need right now, which is usually multiple things. And they see you as that supply, the possibility of all these things happening if they can bring you into their life. And that's it. That's basically your moment of, I guess, guilty, as in your sentence has been decided once that person takes the snapshot and has made a vision of you in their own head of what you are. They decide that that is it. There's nothing more, nothing less. That is what you are. And that is it. You're never going to change. So then they proceed to pull you in because they do want you for all these reasons. So they make you feel like you are, it. It's very common for them to approach you when you are vulnerable or stressed. And I had Ross River and could hardly walk, as in my legs were locked up and I was shuffling around like the Hunchback of Notre Dame for months. I couldn't walk properly, and so I couldn't really do any gardening. And the doctor told me to get Centrelink, and I told him to bugger off, but I probably should have done it. He would have helped me, but I was too proud. So anyway, that's, I was vulnerable. He offered me things that would help. And, of course, things progressed. And by the time September 22 came around, I watched this video and I'm all like, he's the one. It's amazing. I can't believe it. I didn't think this was going to happen. It's so good. He understands me. He listens. He tolerates my bullshit. Blah, blah, blah. So I've literally got a big pair of glasses on, and they are kind of pinkish, but they're rose-coloured. And it made me laugh. I literally got towards the end, and I was gushing so much, and I was like, no wonder everybody wanted to shit on me. Like, seriously, they'd be like, just shut up about it, bitch. You can't be that happy. No wonder people wanted to take it away from me. And honestly, when I look at it, I'm like, you were an idiot. Like, that doesn't happen. It's not real. That feeling was totally related to me and my losses and what I was lacking and what I was looking for outside of myself that I thought was going to fill all my emotional holes and heal all my emotional wounds, which I didn't even know what I had yet. I had assumed what had happened to me. I had no fucking idea what I'd been through or who I was because of it. So I didn't know who I was. I was asking for it, as in I was a sitting duck. I deserved it. I totally deserved everything that was coming to me. I deserved to lose everything because I threw myself at this man's feet. And I told him this too. I said, I made a mistake because I always used to call him my love, my love. And I said, that's wrong. You can't be my love. My love has to be my love, as in it's mine. It's supposed to be inside me. And I told him just by me saying those words, I was projecting my love onto him and making him the epitome of my love, which is what they want. They want you to treat them like God. And when you start seeing that they're not God and they realize that you are onto the fact that they're not God, then they pretty much discard you, which has already been planned from the beginning, because usually they are just triangulating you with other people. They sometimes just need someone at their side to make themselves look better. They might want to infiltrate your friend group. They might just want information. There's so many reasons. Money, assets, whatever. You might just know someone that they want to know. You might know a supply that they've already sussed out. And they're like, if I get with them, I will then get in with that other supply. And you'll be gone as soon as they get that supply, because you were just a stepping stone to a means to an end. And that's all they see it as. It's just what they can take. And a lot of that's emotional for them too, because they're all on a spectrum, right? So he's borderline as well. Most narcissists are, they say. It's like this crossover. There's this crossover between the two. They're definitely dissociative because they split. So he said it's not multiple personality disorder. It is, he said it's a form of, he thought it was, but he said it's a form of dissociation, because you basically have the false self and the true self. Neither of them ever meet, ever. To the narcissist, the false self becomes the God, the be-all and end-all, the thing that can't do any wrong because it's been there to protect them, right, since the beginning. So the false self, every decision it makes is right. It's infallible. It can't do anything wrong. It can't take criticism because it is always right. And the true self just fades back, and it's where this dissociation occurs, in that the false self ends up living your life for you, and the true self is kind of in the background wondering who the fuck it is. And then the false self is out there going, I don't have this true self in here. Don't even look for it. Because it's all to do with fear and trauma and blocking things out. He said that I knew this, we filter out nearly everything, but he said 99% of our thoughts we forget. Narcissists do have a tendency to, he said, because of this dissociation, there's another thing, I can't remember what it was called, but he said that they basically forget, like, their memory doesn't function the same as a average human being. And so, it's paradoxical thinking. So they can think separate thoughts at the same time, which is, for normal people, it's not cognitive. Like, we have to make one decision. Like, something can't be good and bad at the same time. We generally have to, for our own thought process, we have to make a decision and go, I decide that, or I think that and that. It's very hard for you to have two. People like to make a decision. It's for our own, we need to process our thoughts like linearly, or sort of. Anyway, so there's the paradoxical thinking, which causes dissonance within themselves. So they kind of have all these contradictory emotions and thoughts. And I'm the same like that, as in, you can be talking to somebody, but then sometimes if you're hypervigilant, other thoughts will creep in and you start to doubt yourself. When you've got low self-esteem, it's stuff, you can be out with friends and stuff, but something from outside your circle could trigger you. If, like people laughing at me because this politician and this other guy were laughing at me with shit on my face, right? And they thought it was really funny, and they were taking the piss. no pun intended. But they were laughing at me while I was covered in shit, a little girl, you know, helpless already. But then they started laughing, and when I started crying, they laughed harder and insulted me more. And I've always had a problem with people laughing anywhere in a room. I'll think, are they laughing at me, right? So this is the paranoia and hypervigilance. It's a total narcissistic quality, absolutely. Because you're paranoid, you think people are after you, you think people are thinking about you, you think people are worrying about you, you think people have got it in for you, you're always watching your back, right? It's grandiosity, it's ego. You're thinking, I am so fucking important and I have affected people in such a fucking way that they actually have it in for me, or they're looking for me, or they're spying on me, or they're stalking me, or whatever it is in your head. For me, it was, I've been scared my whole life, like there's people chasing me for so many reasons. Hypervigilance, right? Distrust. And then you get burned, and then you get more distrustful. So, but totally narcissistic quality, paranoia. All paranoids have narcissism. And a lot of narcissists have paranoid delusions that of just unreal threats from outside, but we view them as being real because of our inflated ego and our inflated sense of self, that we are better than other people deep down, which is my high bar that I set for people, right? This moral high ground that I have no right to be on because I've fucked up royally in my life. But that's that other part. You go, well, I've been through this, so you can't judge me. I don't know. It's weird. So my borderline and my obviously narcissistic personality disorder overlap, and I've got a lot of other things, the ADD, ADHD, PTSD, fucking you name it. Like, and I don't really believe in diagnosis, and you know, the diagnoses change from year to year with the studies. People change. You're always evolving. Yeah, like life's fluid, shit changes. We're always changing. Our experiences kind of always affect us, and we're never the same person. You know, we might not change deep down, but we are affected all the time. And your thoughts and your emotions are exactly the same thing. They're all interlinked. So anyway, it's just been really interesting to reflect on my own disorders, how they have affected my life, and the people I've been around. You know, they basically, what he was saying was like, psychopaths eat narcissists, and then narcissists eat everyone else. A narcissist can pick another narcissist, but a narcissist cannot pick a psychopath. So go figure. The difference being that a psychopath likes the quick fix. He wants things done straight away. You'll know straight away what he wants. That'll be focus. He wants that thing, whatever. A narcissist will do the long con, and it'll be like, ooh, she's got this and this, or he's got that and that. They'll lay their groundwork, right? They've got patience. The psychopath wants that thing, and they'll take it ASAP, and they're happy that they've got it, and they will use it. The narcissist will put in the long con to get whatever you have, but once they've got it, they don't want it. They don't want you. They get a supply from you, using you, the emotional side of things. And then once they've got you in and they've got whatever they want and you have fulfilled your purpose, they turf you, and the stuff that they take off you, they don't really want it either. It was the getting. Once they've got it, they're kind of like, no, the whole point of getting that stuff was just to ruin you, right? And to take something away from you so that you would break and not be the person that you were, which was a complete fucking idiot. So I can see why he looked at me and said, she's a sucker. Because I was a sitting duck, and I'd fooled myself into thinking that I was on my healing road, that this happy, joy, fucking spiritual life I was trying to follow was actually going to help me heal. This guy Sam was going on about this fucking empaths don't exist, right? It's not a clinical term. He said there's a lot of spiritual bullshit out there on the internet, And I fully bought into this empath thing, right? I'm like, I can feel other people's emotions. No, other people trigger your own emotions, right? It's stuff hidden in you that you don't know about, or you do know about and you're not dealing with it, or stuff you've suppressed, things you've been exposed to, experiences that you've been through that have traumatized you that you did not deal with properly, probably because it happened as a kid. Doesn't have to be anything fucking horrible. It could be family trauma just through your parents being passive aggressive, not talking, fighting, whatever, drinking. All of these things manifest in the same way, right? Drug abuse, alcohol abuse, depression, aggression, criminalization, suicidal thoughts, whatever. So yeah, lost my train of thought because I'm ADD, but there's so many different things that affect a child. No one can be classified. A lot of people with narcissistic personality disorder, especially men, won't seek help. They have to be treated by a therapist like a child, because they said all narcissists, their mental age is under 11. And that's how you have to treat them, like a child, because you can't reason with them. It's not normal. The way that they think is childlike, and you cannot have a reasonable argument with them. You can't convince them to do anything they don't want to do, It's like trying to get a kid to do homework when they hate maths or something, It's like, I'm at home, fuck off. And it's like pulling teeth. But, he was saying how the school system, which is something that I was talking about, but he said, I was just saying, the school system chucks us in with the sharks so young, and then we're trained. But he was saying the school system is bad for producing narcissists, because we are praised and we're told we can achieve anything and do anything we want, and we can become whatever we want. And then we're all given this whole, you're unique, you're special, and this is breeding narcissists, because we grow up thinking, yeah, man, I'm the fucking bomb and I can do whatever I want. So, he said in 2000, there weren't really many, statistically, there weren't many female narcissists, but now he said they're 50%, 50-50. So he said about 1% of the population has been diagnosed with narcissism. He thinks that in his own statistics with his studies, it's probably about 10%. And he said now, with the statistics, they said it's 50-50. Well, 50 to 75% of narcissists are men, and 50% thereabouts are women. But he said it's increasing. So the amount of women narcissists is increasing, and psychopaths. He says he actually has women that are probably in the victim mentality, right, come up to him at lectures and say, can you teach me how to be a narcissist and a psychopath? And he's like, what? I mean, this guy's a narcissist and a psychopath, so he's like, literally, are you fucking nuts? So, yeah, it's very strange. But he said, people now are realizing, and he said this is the way of the future with AI. We're creating narcissists and psychopaths, and they're becoming more prevalent. And with the onset of technology and AI, that's pretty much where we're headed. That eventually the future of the human race will be that everybody will be narcissistic and psychopathic. And that's the only option. And that's where it's going. And I kind of knew that. Just didn't put it in clinical terms, but we're fucked. So anyway, I'm just going to go quickly through what he said about his 8 things, because he's basically like, if you are with a narcissist, you need to get away, because the longer you stay with the narcissist, you will become narcissistic yourself. Now that I've read up, basically he said every single victim of narcissistic, every single survivor of a narcissistic relationship will never be cured of the trust issues. I'm never going to trust again. He said that's untreatable, never goes away. And the other side effect is that we become narcissists ourselves. And that's just something that you can't change either. So, anyway, I found that a bit interesting, because it's like, well, yeah. proven that you can't unheal certain things after surviving a narcissistic relationship. And now that I've realised I was a BPD narcissist, obviously on the spectrum, and so was he, I think he's going to be going through the same shit I'm going through, but it's going to be hard for him because I had a lot of help my whole life, which still didn't prepare me for this shit. I feel bad for him in that respect, but we all have to face our fucking shit that's inside. And the reason why we're all fucked up is because we're not getting over our shit. We either don't even know it happened, we're ignoring it, whatever. Alcohol and drugs are one of the worst things, he said, for not healing, basically. A really good way to cover up. He said alcoholics are one of the worst, and drug addicts, but alcoholics are one of the worst for actually denying that they're an alcoholic to other people. And people will comment and they'll say, oh, no, I don't drink that much. I only drink this much. But they lie to themselves and they lie to other people so that they can continue to numb their pain, which is just how it is. So I was going to try and find that thing. Anyway, I'd look him up. But, okay, so the first one he said is the only thing is no contact. You just have to cut off all contact completely. If you've got children, he advises you to have minimal contact and use third parties always. He said it's the only way to heal from the relationship. Otherwise, you'll just hoover yourself back in or they'll hoover you back in. But, yeah. So I'm that's where I'm going right now. I've been through the anger with realizing what actually happened wasn't me, as in not just me, like I stepped into it. It is totally my fault, and I was a complete fool, and I had it coming, and I deserve this. But when you look back and realize that it was all, and you know, I'm watching all these videos, mate, and they're to a T. It's tactics. It's classic behavior that's been identified and documented and diagnosed as a disorder. And they are predictable. They know what we and them do, as in. So, no contact is the only way out of it. It's just no contact. That's it. And they all say this, but it's the hardest thing to do. But he said that's the rule one. No contact. Once you've got no contact, it's done. You can move on. It's done. But you have to have none, ever, again. And he says no matter who it is, in your family, whatever, he says it's the only way you're ever going to heal from that and get out of the fucking cycle and stop being their supply, which is what it is. You're just a supply for something. They're just feeding off you somehow. So it's a hard one. And he said basically all the rest of the tactics, because one of the audience members was like, why do you have all the tactics if we're not supposed to be with them? And he's like, because you won't leave them. So my advice is no contact. That's it. You're done. But he said for all you people out there that insist on staying with the fucking narcissist and trying to make it work, the next one's grey rock. My friend used to do this. Fucking in her early 20s, she told me, she's when I get sick of a guy, I just stop putting on makeup. I stop trying to look good. I wear tracky dacks. I get really boring. I just don't want to go anywhere, and I'll make him watch really boring movies at home, like romantic shit. And he'd just fuck off. And I'd be like, how do you do that? Like, this guy thinks you're a fucking... I was like, how can you not care about what that man thinks of you? She was like, I don't want him around. I don't give a fuck what he thinks about me. I'm going to make myself grey rock and he'll fuck off. And it worked. So, deflecting decoy technique. You find a common enemy to become allies with. This is all stuff, if you're going to be with a narcissist, then this is what he's advising you to do. But it will turn you into a narcissist. He says this, it's definite. If you're with a narcissist for long enough, you become one because you've got no choice. You become like them because it's the only way that you can fight the fight. If you refuse to leave and you're going to stay with them, or you're going to continue to hang out with that person or have that family member in your life, it's your own fault. And you will become a narcissist just by having to deal with their narcissistic qualities and traits, because there's no other way around it. You can't deal with it. It's a dead-end street. You're going nowhere and you will get stuck there and you will become just like them. And if you do ever leave them, you will never, ever trust anyone again. Ever. Nobody. That's the thing. Never. A lot of women are scared to leave. I can't do it. He's like, you'll have food, you'll have water, you'll have shelter. That's all you need. Get the fuck out of there. What about the kids? Take them. Get help. Whatever. He did advise that if you're in a narcissistic relationship or an abusive relationship, that if you do split up, it's better to split up than to show the children and bring them up thinking that's normal, because it fucks them in the head and they carry it on to their families. But you're better off just having one custodian and sharing, because the children need to they need to be out of it. He said, yeah, you can break up the marriage, but then you just take the marriage outside of the marriage and it's still the same shit at a distance. Still fucks your kids' heads, right? It won't come out until they have a family. You'll think they're fine. They get married, goes to shit. So, number 4 was mirroring. So, whatever they're doing, you kind of escalate it. But he said you'd never use this with, I think, psychopaths or aggro narcissists, because obviously they're fucking aggressive, right? You don't want to push them. But if you're just with your average everyday narcissist that just likes to make you feel like shit and triangulates all the time, then you throw it back at them, tit for tat. So whatever they do, you do. You just copy them. He said it's not mirroring, because mirroring means the opposite. He said you copy everything they do. And then after they see that it kind of creates self-awareness, he reckons. They see themselves in you, your behaviour, and it sort of makes them back off and introspect, because they can't introspect, right? But if they see you mirroring their behaviour all the time, it's just something he reckons that happens. It's called operant conditioning, and they use it for animals. So it's for the same as domesticating pets. It basically conditions the narcissist to behave. So, yeah. The coward backs off, and it creates introspection and self-awareness, and because they see their own traits. So, I don't know, this is why you become a narcissist though, right? Because you have to think. He said if you're going to stay with a narcissist, you need to be on the ball all the time. Very smart, very clever, never drop your guard. What kind of life is that? If you're a narcissist, this probably sounds really good and challenging, but what kind of a life is that, having to think about every single move you make with your partner? Okay, so number 5 was shared psychosis, shared psychotic disorder. So you basically, it's similar to the Stockholm syndrome, delusional narrative or trauma bonding. So basically, whatever the narcissist does, you exaggerate and you inflate it. It's another behavior modification. I mean, it's horrible that this checklist exists, but you basically tell them you're the genius, you deserve better. Why do you lower yourself to that level? Like if they come home and say to you, oh, I did this and this, you'd be like, those people are so much better than you anyway. Why do you even bother? Or why did it take you that long? You should have done it in 2 minutes because you're so amazing. You kind of berate them, but inflate them at the same time. So you they're trying to build themselves up. So you build them, you kind of berate them a little bit before you agree. And then you go over the top and it inflates their ego. I don't know. It's weird. So yeah. And then, you make a parody and a caricature of their sort of grandiosity. So whenever they're going on about how awesome they are, you try and pull them back a bit, but then you build it up and go, yeah, you are God, you're amazing. But why do you bother with that? Because you're so amazing. Why are you doing this thing that's beneath you? Why wasn't it done quicker? Because you're so good. Anyway, it works apparently. It's another form of conditioning. It's like a beast and you're trying to tame them, right? So if you're insistent, this is what this guy says. The next one is provide calibrated but reasonable high-grade narcissistic supply. So attention, basically, is what they always want. But if you can provide the fix that they're looking for all the time, they won't go look for it anywhere else. And positive or negative attention is a narcissistic supply. Kind of like kids, if they don't get enough positive reinforcement, negative attention is better than no attention. So they'll play up. They'd rather get a smack and have some attention than be ignored, basically. So, yeah, you stroke their ego, you're smart, you're wonderful. It creates an extreme dependence on you, apparently. And yeah, it's like for dependent personalities, because narcissists are very dependent on supply. So you can either be like, you're so smart or wonderful, or you can, if they're horrible, you can go, you scare me, you're so big and strong and intimidating, it scares me. And apparently that inflates their ego too. I don't know. This guy is narcissistic and psychopathic, so he knows better than anyone. He knows what he's like. Number 7's withholding. So withhold communication, do the silent treatment. He used to do that to me. If it was something he didn't want to talk about, he would just get up and walk away and ice me. The wall. Withhold sex, triangulate, bring someone else in, start going and hanging out with someone else, do what they do. Remove elements that are critical to the narcissist's supply. So whatever that they're feeding off, you take it and you probably give it to someone else. And then they'll then try to extract from you what you're holding back that they were getting before, especially if you're threatening or are giving it to someone else. And then you basically do short bursts of supply and then withhold, which is what they do. So you build them up, take it away. Build them up, take it away. And they keep coming back and it's weird. Anyway, but he says that's got to be combined with the other one, which is the shared psychosis. So if you can get your head around these. And then 8 is intermittent reinforcement. So they kind of overlay, there's only one way to survive as a narcissist, with a narcissist, is to become one. So you have to kind of adopt all their narcissistic behaviors and do what they do to you, to them. By number 8, you're a narcissist, right? Because you've implemented all the other strategies. It's too late. Once you've started implementing all that shit, that's where you are. And it's contagious, basically. He said it's very, very contagious disorder. And that the complex post-traumatic stress disorder traits are exactly the same as BPD traits. Yeah, so, this is it. So you'll never recover your ability to trust or your empathy. You'll always have empathic deficit disorder. So I always thought I was an empath, but I was feeling my own pain, right? And just seeing it reflected on others. And now I will never, ever get my empathy back again. It's never coming back. I'm never going to feel for people like I used to. Because, no, I guess I've realised it was my own pain anyway. But yeah, empathic deficit disorder. My empathy's never coming back. It's the same, apparently, he said, with alcoholics, drug addicts, and terminal illness people. They all have this empathic deficit disorder. And you just have to show them tough love, like a kid that's misbehaving, because they basically see you as a retard or ungrateful or both. But anyway, yeah, so there you go. I'm a total fucking narcissist now. Always obviously was a little bit of a one, which we all are, but was way more BPD, borderline, needy, people-pleasing, but still at my core a little bit of a narcissist. I'm not going to deny it. I told him that when he said, you're the narcissist, and I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll take that too. Fucking hell, mate. I got a list of disorders already, just whack it on there. And now he's right. He's right. We were a match made in hell. It felt like a match made in heaven because that's what happens. And then it turns into the match made from hell. And then you end up with nothing. You hit rock bottom. You either kill yourself or you get up somehow. That's it. There's only two options when you leave a abusive narcissistic relationship, and you've gotten to the point of discard. If you've made it to that point, you're already fucked. And it's too late. It's too late. So you're already a narcissist by that time. If you choose to stay with them, then it's never going to change, as in you'll just be in the same cycle all the time, but you'll just becoming more and more narcissistic yourself, losing your empathy and losing your ability to ever trust again. So if you're willing to give away those things and hit rock bottom, I pretty much sold my soul. I gave it away. I said, I will give my soul for all eternity in return for humanity to end. And I said, I'll give my body away if there is something that wants to come in here and take my body and do what they will on this planet, because I hate humanity. Do it. And I think it's happened. I've lost my old self. So if you want to believe in entities, I think I invited an entity in. If you want to believe that there was just this fucked up little psychopath within me that never got a chance to get out, and that's what this entity is. That's what it is. It's the monster inside of me that I've been trying to hold down with this fucking fake goodness and soft and squishy fucking outside and this positive look. A guy's like, you need to view the world with soft eyes. I said I tried that for 10 years and it got me here. So I'm going to do the hard eyes for 10 and then I'll see whether I have soft eyes or not. Fuck the soft eyes. So I don't think I've been ruined, as in he basically said if the world is turning into psychopaths and narcissists, then you need to be one to fucking be able to survive. So you either become a true one or you just do what that guy said and live in the everyday fog and keep being like a token fucking narcissist, borderline, psycho, pick a fucking thing. Have your depression, whatever, but you're going to have to become a psychotic narcissist to survive on this planet with what's coming. And we're all being turned into it for that reason. So it's kind of happening by default. I think it was planned, TV, everything. Oh my God, I watched the Muppets. I was like, Pigs in Space popped in my head. I'm going, oh, Muppets, I'm going to watch an episode of Pigs in Space. It was a rip-off an Alien. And they're like making jokes, but this pig's got an alien coming out of his belly. And he starts talking with a fucking Spanish accent. It was so wrong. We were watching that when I was a child. Same with cartoons. It just all went, I was like, I was laughing. Don't get me wrong. I love Alien. It's like fucking the Alien anthologies. My favorite movies forever. So it was hilarious. Like, don't get me wrong, mate. I fucking laughed and laughed and laughed. But the whole time I was going, this is wrong. I shouldn't have been watching this when I was a child. It was just planting the seeds for me to go and watch Alien. Probably way too young. You know, that's a scary fucking movie. To be parodizing that on a child's fucking puppet show is wrong. It's wrong. So yeah, as an adult, I thought it was fucking hilarious, but now I can look back and see that the adults in the house would have been sitting around with their kids going, yeah, this is funny, but the kids shouldn't be watching it. But it's a fucking kids show, right? I couldn't watch any more after that. I went, okay, I've had enough Pigs in Space. Now I know what I was watching on the Muppets. Yes, it was funny, but it was programming and it was grooming me for bad stuff. The Muppets was grooming me to watch Alien when I was probably like 5 or 6 years old, right? Not even. It's just bad. So anyway, here I am, self-proclaimed narcissist, as in I'm definitely one now. I've turned into one by being with one, but I already was narcissistic on a spectrum, more borderline than narcissistic, but fuck knows, mate. Like I said, you can't diagnose people. I am 150 shades of fucked up in that the stuff that's happened in my life I couldn't even remember this bad shit, right? And I still knew and was like, man, I really got handed the fucking plate of shit. Like, I could have just had one or two of the things that I had to grow up with, and it still would have been a bad life. But I kind of got the whole plate full. And now I realise I got the whole fucking smorgasbord, right? I love all you can eat. I got all you can eat shit in my childhood. All you can eat. Everything you could possibly ask for. I got it. Every bad thing, pretty much. As in so bad. Like, you just think of something bad and then think of something worse, and then think of something worse, and then think of something worse, and then think of something worse that can happen to a kid, right? I'm down there. So, yeah, no wonder I'm so fucking retarded. As in emotionally retarded. My emotions have not grown. They got retarded in a certain space. When I was young, they got separated. They never grew. My emotional growth was retarded. I am emotionally retarded. I am stuck in the brain of a child with psychotic and narcissistic tendency, as in that kind of, I think, makes me a little bit of a dangerous person, like everyone else. As in, and he says this, he says they're dangerous people. Emotionally, they will kill you, and you need to stay away from them. So no contact. If you're going to insist on trying to fight with the narcissist because you either are one or you want to become one, then follow the other 7 steps. But know that if it doesn't go well, you will be a narcissist on the other side. You will never recover your sense of trust in anyone, and you will totally lose your empathic ability to care for other people. You'll become completely self-absorbed, hypervigilant, more narcissistic. So, yeah, that's what we've got to look forward to on this planet. It's where we're going. It's what we've become. There's hardly any female narcissists in 2000, and now it's 50% of narcissists are women, and he reckons it's probably 10 to 15% of the population. Nearly all psychotic narcissists are either running Fortune 500 companies or they're in prison. So, go figure. Yeah. But we've all got a spectrum. I know I'm psychotic. I know I've got psychopathic tendencies. I know I've got sociopathic tendencies. I know I'm borderline. I know I've got post-traumatic stress disorder. And now I know that I definitely am a narcissist. And I completely have empathy deficit and trust issues, and the hypervigilance. Not so much now, because I'm kind of not scared of anything or anyone. It's weird. And I think that's the narcissist in me, and maybe the psychopath. I don't know. I'm waiting to see how I turn out. Get this. I've got a government-appointed counsellor who's telling me that I should write a book with all of my torture fantasies in it, because there's some other lady out there who's done it and it's going really well. And I'm like, yeah, right, I could write down all these, because basically I had suicidal ideations, and now that poor me bitch is gone, I've got murderous, torturous ideations. And it's just a transference, and it's a way to deal with the pain. But she's encouraging me to write a book with detailing how I would exact revenge. And I'm like, I said, I don't know if I want to write a book like that and put it out there. I said, people just read shit. Oh, that was horrible. Next, read shit. That was horrible. It's just putting shit in their head, giving them ideas, like making a series like Dexter and showing kids how to subdue and abduct a victim, set up a kill room, clean up your kill room, clean your victim, like kill your victim, clean up your room, dump everything, get rid of the body, never get found out. Like, seriously, what do you think? Why are we all turning into psychopaths? That's fucking why. They're showing us how to fucking do it. So, anyway, there's no hope. We're all gone. I'm completely fucked. And I'm just going to wait for society to fall, because I think it's going to happen this year. But, you know, if it doesn't, whatever. I'm still always going to be alone. I'm never going to trust anyone. I'm never going to care about anyone. So this is it. This is the new me. I've become a complete narcissist with no empathy. I'll still help people out and do nice things for them, but it's not for the same reasons that I used to, hey? It's very different. I can tell you now, the way that I look at life and people is very, very different. I've completely changed. And I don't know who I am anymore, but I like it better than the old one. And one thing that's completely gone is the pain that I used to feel in my belly. So my emotional pain used to manifest in my belly, and it would hurt to the point that I would crumple over and hold my belly, and just, no matter how much I cry or scream or yell, I can't get it out. It's gone. It's turned into this kind of heavy, warm butterflies that feels like anger. But my counsellor says, "Are you sure it's not strength?" And I'm like, well, if I'm turning my anger into strength, then yeah, that's what it is. But it feels like anger, and it feels nice, and I just like to sit with it. It's a nice feeling. It's hot, it's warm, it's heavy. It's not like these fucking nervous butterflies or the pain or whatever I used to feel in my gut, right? My intuition, I'd always get these funny things in my gut. It's gone. Now, if I get a little bit of a zzz in my gut, it doesn't trigger fear in me. It just is a sign that there's something triggering my gut. There's something external triggering here that's triggering my gut. But I don't get it. As in, it's tiny, and I'll be like, Like I looked under this spooky tree one evening, and I got a in my belly, and I just went, ooh, I'm going to go have to check out that tree when it's lighter, because, you know, it's getting dark. And I want to see it, but it wasn't scared, you know. I just went, something about that tree gave me a little I looked at it. It did give me the creeps for a second, because I went, oh, that's fucking, because it was shadowy, you know. I couldn't see what was under the hawthorn tree. But I just went, chalk that up. Remember, you need to go check out that spot for whatever reason, and kept walking. I don't know. It's like my fear's completely gone. And I don't know if that's a narcissistic or psychopathic quality. I don't know if that comes with losing your empathy for other people. Maybe it removes your hypervigilance because you stop worrying about everybody, even if they're bad or good. Or it's very strange. It's very strange. But I do like it. I'd rather be this person than the one I was before. And it was really hard getting here, and I only just made it, but I'd rather be this person than the one I was before. And that's all there is to it. So maybe I did need to become a narcissist completely and have my empathy taken away so I could stop feeling pain. It's a nice relief. I feel really good. So that's your checklist for how to manipulate a narcissist. If you really insist on being in any kind of relationship with one, or if you're forced to be in with one at work or something, he's got a checklist. It's a 3-hour video lecture from Budapest with translator, but it gave me time to take notes, and it was good. And I watched it a couple of times because he's just, he's straight onto it, but he knows because he's a narcissistic psychopath. So I found that very interesting. He doesn't take any shit. He's straight to the point. And because he's a narcissist, he doesn't fuck around. He's just there for his supply, which is to get his money and fuck off and, you know, give his lecture. So he is married. Go figure. Anyway, Sam, what did I say his name is? Sam something. Professor Sam Vaknin, diagnosed narcissist. Check it out. I found it really interesting. He's really helped. Like, all of the things have really helped with this guy this morning. I think I started watching it yesterday, but I was like, this guy's the bomb. I think it's because he's a scientist and not a psychologist. I don't really like shrinks trained in uni, but, you know, you got no choice. So anyway, give it a look. And yeah, sorry to everybody for me being a narcissist if I ever fucking sucked you dry for some supply and then ditched you and discarded you like a piece of rubbish. I kind of didn't know I was doing it. So that's the difference with narcissists, is that they target people and then they have the plan already to discard you, which I never had with people. So I don't think I was narcissistic really before. Like, I might have been a little bit on the spectrum, but I'm definitely one now. And it's good. I like being a narcissist. I can see why all you cunts like being cunts. It's very empowering. Anyway, I'll see if I can get a grip on it. But with no empathy anymore, I think that's the only thing that stops you from being a narcissist, is having empathy, right? If I've got total empathic deficit now, there's no going back. So none of you want me in your life anyway, because trust me, I'm a complete cunt now. You wouldn't even want me there because I'm just going to use you up and spit you out. So you haven't lost anything. I've gained a lot, but probably nothing that you guys would appreciate because I'm a cunt now. So anyway, it's good. I've gone from pussy to cunt. See you later.